They did it on purpose. On my birthday, my parents slid a wrapped box across the table. Not to me, but to her, my sister. She tore into it while they beamed with pride. A watch I'd wanted for years, engraved with her initials. When I looked up, my mother said, "You don't deserve anything." And my father added, "You should be grateful we even let you sit here." So I left. No words, no fight, just silence. And that silence was the sharpest weapon I ever carried. I vanished from their orbit that night. No calls, no visits, no pleading for scraps of love. Instead, I built. Piece by piece, paycheck by paycheck. I bought a house, small at first, then bigger, modern, clean, mine. No handouts, no apologies. I thought cutting them out was enough punishment, but betrayal has a way of circling back, demanding a second act. 3 years later, they came pounding on my door. When I opened it, there they stood, aging, bitter, still radiating entitlement. My sister in the middle, smug as always, her eyes scanning my home like it already belonged to her. "This house," my mother announced, "should belong to your sister. She deserves it more than you." I remember smiling, calm, controlled, because by then my plan was already in motion. The truth is, I had been preparing for this moment from the day I left. The first clue came months after I cut ties. I heard whispers, debts, unpaid loans, creditors circling them like vultures. My sister living beyond her means, my father covering it with favors, my mother clinging to appearances. I stayed quiet. I watched from a distance. I kept receipts, property filings, business records, debts and collections, lawsuits pending. Piece by piece, I built a map of their downfall, and I positioned myself at the center. I bought this house under a trust, untouchable, shielded from their reach. My lawyer double-checked every clause, every loophole. They couldn't touch me legally, no matter how much they tried to guilt or threaten. But I wanted more than protection. I wanted them to choke on the truth. So I fed their creditors little sparks of information, anonymous tips, quiet nudges, just enough to speed up what was already inevitable. By the time they stood in my doorway demanding I hand over my home, they were already drowning. They just didn't know it yet. The confrontation was almost poetic. My father tried to play the patriarch, barking orders like I was still a child under his roof. My mother's eyes darted to every corner, already decorating the place in her head. My sister smirked, certain I would fold the way I always had. But I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I simply said, "You think this house belongs to her?" They nodded. Then, "Step inside. See what she really owns." They followed me into the living room. Waiting on the screen was a slideshow, documents, images, video clips, years of evidence. Their debts, my sister's forged checks, my father's shady transfers, my mother's fake charity expenses. Every secret they thought buried, projected in sharp detail. They froze, pale, silent. My sister whispered, "Where did you get all this?" I looked her dead in the eye. While you were stealing birthdays, I was building files. The beauty of revenge isn't in shouting. It's in watching realization spread slowly, like poison. My father sank into a chair, his hands trembling. My mother reached for excuses, then swallowed them when another file appeared. Her handwriting, her signature. My sister's smirk dissolved into panic. I let them sit in it. I let the silence press down, heavier than any scream. And then I handed them the final document. Foreclosure notices. On their home. Served that very morning. "This house," I said softly, "it's not hers. Yours is gone. And everything you thought untouchable is already ashes." They begged. They pleaded. My mother grabbed my hand, tears streaking her makeup. My father muttered about family and forgiveness. My sister's voice cracked as she swore she'd change. But I remembered the watch, the sneer, the words, "You don't deserve anything." So I stood, walked to the door, and opened it. "Get out," I said. Calm, cold, final. They shuffled past me, broken shadows of the tyrants who once ruled my life. When the door clicked shut behind them, I didn't feel sadness. I didn't feel guilt. I felt release. Because I hadn't just taken revenge, I had ended the cycle. They had spent my entire life convincing me I was undeserving. And yet, here I stood, with everything they lost because of their own greed. Do I regret not forgiving them? No. They taught me that love was conditional, that worth had to be proven, that family could be weaponized. So I became a weapon, sharper than they ever imagined. And when they demanded what was mine, I didn't raise my voice. I smiled, and I buried them with their own sins.